Okay, I think I got it. Let me double check that. Okay. Let's double check that I actually have the mute off. I do. I have the mute off. So I believe we are live to go. It is 10 a.m. This is day 5. My name is Linnell, and we are going live. And for the next couple of days, we are finishing up a list of the 5 biggest losses that women can experience after they leave their career. The first was identity. The second was a sense of fulfillment. Today, we're going to be talking about connection and a sense of belonging. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about, what are we talking about tomorrow? Self-confidence, kind of losing the self-confidence. And then on Monday, we're going to be talking about motivation and losing your mojo. And this one, the connection and a sense of belonging is probably, they're all terrible, right? But in a way, the connection and a sense of belonging for me was, again, they're all terrible, but it was very difficult, if not the worst, the biggest loss. It was right up there with whatever else was the biggest loss. I don't have kids, but I know even women that have a family leave their career. And when you are in a successful career where you are in command and you have a lot of people you're working around, a lot of smart people, interesting conversations, interesting travel. And when you leave, you don't realize that your work friends are not your friends. And for a while, you're able to meet for dinner, meet for cocktails, stay in touch, but it's rare that that connection remains over time because your lives are so different. You lose that connection, that thing that you had in common. That's not to say that all the friends that you make at work, none of them are going to remain friends, right? But for the most part, your work friends are good people and good friends when you have that connection. But when you leave that, it breaks the bond in a way that you had. So that, and then a lot of friends who have families, then the grandkids start coming. So the whole experience, someone without kids, you go through when you're in your 20s, 30s, and then 40s, you lose your friends to their children and families. And now I'm finding a similar loss with these friends in the circles because of the grandkids are now coming. And even those with grandkids that may not be local, you may be experiencing the same thing. And then people move. You've got things that happen, gray divorce. It's very hard when you start losing these connections at this time in your life when you have built these structures, social bonds over your lifetime. So here we are. It's difficult to reestablish these social connections because of the time that it takes to really get to know someone and trust someone, and the stuff that you have to go through in order to really create some of these very close, tight bonds. And there's nothing you can do about that. Time is time, right? You've got to spend the time. And I do think that we all know what it takes. We've got to risk vulnerability to put ourselves out there, invite someone over, walk up to someone and speak to them. We have to take the time and do the work to look for venues that are out there where we can do that, put ourselves into that position. It is hard, but it's not impossible. And I think what I've found myself, and can't speak for you, but I would imagine that this is probably not dissimilar from what you're feeling, is that I just don't want to. It's so hard. I'm just so tired of this. And why can't there just be a club and I could just go and miraculously I'm going to love everyone and they're going to be my best friends. Let me just find that. So it is what it is, ladies. It's extremely important that we find each other. And that, again, I think this is the biggest motivator for me to establish this group, Bold Women. Because there needs to be a connection, a connecting place, a place of like-minded women who are looking for strong, intelligent women to have discussions, to plan their future, to help each other and support each other, and not feel like you're putting yourself out on a silver platter, right? I mean, it's a difficult time. So that's it. You just have to do the work. Tactically, I moved here to South Carolina. I've been here less than 2 months. I have met a couple of people. And it's hard. Meetup.com. I have checked that out. I'm going on a hike next week. Who knows, but it's a 1.5 mile hike. It's an easy hike. I don't have to climb a mountain. There's a library, a beautiful library here. Of course, South Carolina, it's one of the oldest in the country, right? So there's all the history. So I am going to go to one of the book signings. I downloaded the audio book so I can know what I'm going to be, listening to. And then I've started an intellectual salon. That's just like, that sounds a lot fancier than it is, where the women who are part of the Bold Women community can come on Mondays, the first Monday of every month, with the exception of like Labor Day, when that's a holiday, and then we go to the second. If you're interested in that, we're going to get online. This first one is actually this Monday, the 7th. And every month we'll have a topic. This topic is women and money. Why do we find it so difficult to talk about money? And if we're in business, to charge for what we think our services or products are worth, why do we have this angst about it? So there's an opportunity. It's virtual, but who knows? We can turn some meetings into in-person. So it's hard, but it is. And you got to step up to the plate and take matters into your own hands. And if you're interested in the salon this Monday, or maybe September or one of the other months, then, I'll put the link in here for more information. And that's it. Okay, tomorrow we're going to talk about self-confidence. And, that's all tied into everything else. Loss of identity and fulfillment and connections. It's really, a loss of self-confidence that's kind of underlying a whole lot of that. So thank you for joining. I will talk with you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern.